How do you differentiate high potential versus rest of employee?
There's a very common mistake that companies make when they're putting together their high potential programs.
Hmm.
They put people into it based on their current performance and their current role, as
Hmm.
opposed to thinking about the future roles they'll be in and what skills do they need to excel at those roles, right? And so when you look at the number one criteria that I would say is most important to consider when you're deciding, who gets into your high potential programs, it is their learning agility. And so I'll explain what that is in a second, but the one thing to know is one quarter of all Fortune 100 companies use learning agility as a primary measurement of determining who gets into their high potential programs. And so learning agility is the ability to draw lessons from your experiences and use those lessons to improve in whatever you're doing or to grow and become more effective. When I go back to the multitasking conversation we had earlier, if you're too busy multitasking, you're not learning as many lessons. You're not gaining as much out of your work because you're spreading your mind in different places. The people that really excel and move quickly throughout their careers are the ones that have learned to focus in the moment and draw lessons out of those experiences and find ways to apply those lessons. That's the number one thing, because every promotion you get, there's going to be a different set of responsibilities. And we talked about earlier how it's no longer necessarily your technical skill that's going to have you be successful. It's your ability to get things done through others. So it's relationship driven. And so when people move from individual contributor to manager roles, they must be able to manage relationships, motivate performance, help bring out the strengths and passions of individuals and get them to exert more expendable energy. So ultimately that's a very different skill set. So when you're looking who goes into the high performer or into the high potential programs, you need to be very clear. Is this person a person hungry to learn, and do they find ways to apply what they learn and get better and better? And
Hmm.
those are the individuals that are going to move much faster than others that do not have high potential. And in fact, there's one study where basically they found that people with high potential are 18 times more, sorry, high learning agility are 18 times more likely to be promoted than someone with low learning agility. And so it's really critical that you are constantly finding ways to learn. And one of the ways to do that is to be more focused and creating opportunities. I mean, any conversation you have, you can learn something from if you're looking for the lessons. It could be about the relationships, it could be about the situation, it could be about, just mistakes people are making and taking note of that and not making the same mistakes. So that's probably the most important criteria. And then the other thing to consider for high potential programs is what are the key competencies of the roles you see them moving into, and are they strong in those competencies, not the ones they're currently in, not the job they're currently in.